So, welcome to the Cloud Management User Group June Meetup. It's our third event, so thank you to everyone who has returned for a second or third time. I do know there are some people who have returned for a third time, so thanks for sticking with us. Massive welcome to everyone who has joined us for the first time, and there are quite a few new faces, so thank you for that. We're going to keep these really boring bits a bit short, and I'll stop talking in just a second. But first, I've got Paul Winstanley, who is a 4 times Enterprise Mobility MVP, and he's been working with ConfigMgr for over 12 years. Apparently, is that a thing? Has ConfigMgr been around for 12 years, or was it SMS before that?
Yeah, so 2007 was the first version I dabbled with, so that would have been 2008, so it's more than 12 years now. 13. Oh, yeah. Unlucky.
But I was right, over 12 years.
Yeah.
So he and you run SCCM I'll put that link in the chat.
Right. So this is my Brangelina thing, right? Combining SCCM with Mentor.
Indeed, so, yeah, which is impossible for me to say, but thank you for doing that. So SCCMmentor.com. It looks lovely, but it doesn't read well. And you're obviously a pretty big deal in the community, so thank you for heading along to this. I'll hand over to you in just a second to cover ConfigMgr CloudAttach, which would be good. Following Paul, we've got Viktor Hedberg. I am an M365 consultant working in Sweden's public sector, and he's going to talk about Passwordless and the temporary access pass, so that should be good to hear about. Once we've seen all that and once we've enjoyed all that, we're going to stick around for the quiz, which we have a £20 or equivalent voucher for first place and a £10 equivalent voucher for second place. I say equivalent because there's lots of people from outside the UK here who don't really appreciate pound values of vouchers. But I've said I'll shut up. So Paul, I'll let you make a start if that's all right.
Yeah. Cheers for the intro. Yeah, so I'm let me just share out. Hold on. Good start. Right, okay. Yeah, so I just noticed actually there's another MVP on the call who's on the Teams call, who's new. So Katie, congratulations for your award on the Enterprise Mobility Program, like myself. Yeah, so I'm here today to talk about CloudAttach. Okay, you can hear me okay? Just checking, yeah, all good?
Yes.
Yep, cool. Okay, so I'm currently doing a blog series with another MVP, Niall Brady, and we've called it CloudAttach Endpoint Manager's Silver Lining. So we're building this blog series up. We've been working on it for quite a while actually, and more parts are coming out soon, hopefully. There's a link here on the presentation, which obviously the slides will go out and be shared out. But effectively, it's at the Windows Noob website, and we're building up over time. We've done a bit about Cloud Management Gateway, co-management, and the next up is going to be tenant attach. But today's presentation really is to go through co-management and tenant attach introduction, really. Okay, so yeah, that's me. So a little bit about myself. I know, Dean, you've already gone through that. So I'm an MEM consultant, freelance, my own business, SCCM Solutions. So I think it probably needs a rebrand, that, doesn't it, along with SCCM Mentor. UK resident, originally from the north of England, up in Yorkshire. Been living in London for 25 years and in IT for 25, and as Dean said, config manager for just over a dozen of those years. The blog there, SCCM Mentor, but 1m.com, and there's my Twitter handle. Okay, so I'm going to start off with some discussion around co-management, and I'm going to just put my phone here as well so I can keep an eye on the time. Okay, so we're going to start off with some chat about what co-management is, the paths that can lead you towards co-management, kind of prereqs, that kind of thing. We'll look at enrollment of clients, bootstrapping, discussion around AAD joined devices, looking at moving workloads and some considerations. There's a mix of live and there's a recorded demo as well. We'll see how that goes. Fingers crossed. It all depends on Wi-Fi connectivity, etc. as we do this. Okay, so hopefully, I don't know if you're familiar with co-management. Effectively, it's a bridge between your on-premise SCCM or config manager. It's not SCCM now, as it's MEM, Endpoint Manager, and the cloud, so Intune. Obviously, there's been a big rebrand, everything Endpoint Manager, etc. So we're bringing the whole solution together by using co-management. It allows you to, as I say, bridge towards the cloud, and it was initially kind of marketed in a way that it would be a goal to go to the cloud and effectively, you know, sort of get rid of your on-prem. But that marketing spiel has changed over time. Microsoft understand that you may never get to the point where you can get rid of that bridge, and you may require co-management long term, if not forever. The solution supports your existing on-prem clients and also your internet-based clients. So you can bring co-management to your autopiloted devices, for example. When you start with co-management, you can get some real immediate benefit on your on-prem devices, things that you can't do if you're just managing them without the co-management. And these are the scenarios such as wipe or resets. You can start to look at synchronizing policy from the cloud. You can do kick off with conditional access rules and things like that. And you can start to use co-management as a way to transition from OSD towards autopilot, which, you know, obviously in the COVID world is handy in a way that you can decentralize your Windows deployments, you know, take away that build on site and start to look at transitioning to provisioning your devices directly, sending that to the users and having them user drive their way through the onboarding process. So that's it. Effectively, you need to connect and bridge as part of the co-manage experience, and we'll run through that configuration shortly. I just wanted to highlight the fact that there are two paths that you need to look at for co-management, and these are, as I've mentioned, you've got your existing config manager clients that are currently managed by config manager itself, so your on-prem clients, and you've got internet-based AD joined. So you've got to think of ways of getting them into your co-management, how to get them into the cloud, etc. And so there's various methods on doing that. And I think the best thing to do is hop on board to the config manager console and show you actually the configuration of co-management, setting that up. I've actually got it configured already, so I can't run through that wizard, but I can show you where it's done. And then, yeah, how you would bring your clients on board. Okay, right. Here we go. Okay, so in the console, you have, under your admin section, you've got all these cloud services, and co-management exists under here. Now, normally you'd right click in here and you'd start to configure co-management, run through the wizard, pick the options, etc. to get that in place. As I say, this is already, this site's already in a co-managed state, so I can't run through that wizard. But what you get in here is pretty much what you'll see as you go through that. When you go into the properties here, by the way, it does take a minute or two, not a minute or two, but slightly longer than a normal wizard to come up. Okay, so when you start off, you'll need to sign in here to do your CloudAttach, and you'll have a choice here of public cloud or US government. One of the prereqs.
Oh, sorry to bother you. just a message from one of the Mike said he can't see the demo. I can see it. I just want to check generally. Can we all see the screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yep.
So Mike, hopefully it'll catch up. He's still on your slides apparently. Just wanted to make sure that was all good. It looks like it's all right. Sorry to interrupt you there.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's cool.
Good. Thanks, Matt.
Is it a case of clicking the in Teams, clicking the window that you can pick where you can pick presentation or person or something like that? Might be that.
Yeah, no idea.
Possibly. Yeah. So one of the prereqs here when you sign in is that you'll want to be signing in with a global administrator account when you make this connection. You'll then go through a process of ignore this bit for now. This is more tenant attach, but you'll go through an enablement process, which is, do you want to pilot your devices with co-management? And that's a wise choice initially. Do you want to be gung-ho and have them all start to enroll into Intune? Bear in mind, this enablement is all around enrollment, this first step, okay? Or do you want to just click it on none? I don't know why you would do that, but you need to enroll your devices to be able to do this. So the general thing is to pilot, okay? And we'll have a collection in ConfigMgr that will populate with our auto enrollment devices. We treat this collection as a top level, and then we can stage our workloads later where we can sort of plug in different collections that use that as I use it as a limiting collection, this pilot collection. This section here is about your internet-based clients. You have to build up a command to install those with the ConfigMgr client. We'll come back to that. But effectively, yeah, you have your pilot collection. You'll then in here have a bunch of workloads that you can flip between ConfigMgr and Intune. You can pilot things out. Come back to that shortly, and a bunch of collections that you can pick to granularly test different things in Intune. So, for example, you might want to test compliance policies. You'll create your own compliance policy collection, just devices in there. You can test how that works for you, Windows updates, etc. Okay, but the initial thing about when you go through and do this is that you want to enroll devices into Intune, and that's the key thing, the first thing you need to do to be able to start that journey. Now there's a prereq here. Let's just go back to the slides briefly. Okay. Yeah. So this section here is, well, for your existing clients. Okay, licensing Azure Premium and Intune. So you need Azure Premium for the auto enrollment process to happen. Note if you're licensed for Intune, if you've got ConfigMgr. As I say, you need global admin to set up co-management. But we'll need to hybrid join our devices, okay, as a prereq for this enrollment to work. So hybrid join can be achieved ideally through using AAD Connect to do this, or you could validate initially with something called Client SCP. Yeah. The hybrid join effectively means that the device exists in your on-prem AD and is also an object within AAD. So on your domain controller, here we go. Well, I say domain controller, sorry, wherever you're running your Azure AD Connect. I'm running it on my domain controller, but Azure AD Connect, if you haven't got hybrid join set up, you can configure that quite easily. Okay. If you go into configure device options, you'll notice here you've got to be running a sort of ideally the latest release of hybrid join. There is a really old version that's like a minimum version for this. It's in the docs, but hopefully you're up to date with your AD Connect. If not, it's worth updating it. Azure AD join, you just go through here, authenticating. Oh, I don't know this password. Okay, it's going to ask me to authenticate. No. No. Third time lucky.
Obviously, password 3 rather than password 1. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, I've muted my phone, so I didn't get the approval come up. Right, there we go. They saw it. Might have seen there it came up. It's very fine. I was a GA to be able to do this. Yeah, and effectively, I just choose this top option. I'm going to configure hybrid join. It will go through and ask me a few questions here. Windows 10 devices. But then here I need to set up what's called an SCP, a service connection point in my AD. I'm going to need enterprise admin to do this, so keep that in mind. Quite a high level user to create this connection point. You'll just tick that box and enter enterprise admin credentials when you I think it's when you click next, or if it comes up, it prompts you anyway. And the SCP will get created. Just basically click next. It will go through and do that for you. I put in the slides. This is kind of big bang this way. It's obviously going to hybrid join all the devices that you have in your scope. So if you're syncing the whole of AD currently, you're not doing any OU filtering, then those devices will come in as hybrid joined to the AD. So if you want to be, as I say, you can do validation beforehand. You can use something called client SCP to achieve that. It's effectively some registry keys. Let's have a look. So let's bring that up. Got a blog on. I say it's not a blog, it's Microsoft Docs. The first thing they ask you to do on this is to clear the SCP from AD. This is just checking if there's one there already. Now, if you've not run hybrid join already, you won't have one in. So we can always check that. But there's a couple of reg keys you pop in. Tenant ID and tenant name in these locations, and then the device will do its own hybrid join process. It will need to have line of sight to the domain controllers to achieve it, but you can test a device or a handful of devices in your AD, make sure that they come up and hybrid join successfully before you then go through this process. Okay.
I didn't know that, and that has changed successfully. I work with a lot of customers, and I'm not an identity person. I didn't know about that. That's really good.
Well, the client SCP, yeah.
It's a really selfish thing for me to unmute and do that.
But no. I mean, I've been there. It's
really good.
What's the impact of turning this on across the domain? How can we test this? Client SCP is the way.
Yeah, as Viktor said, when using HTTPS, there's a message in chat from Viktor. By default, all servers will get hybrid joined as well if you just turn it on.
Yes, yeah, they will. Yeah,
so,
that's the thing. If you're syncing the whole domain, they'll get hybrid join. Absolutely. Okay, so what about enrolling a client? Okay, so we've got the kind of the co-management feature in place. And let's have a look. Okay, so let's have a look at enrolling a device. I'm jumping around my slides here, but that's cool. Right, okay. I'm absolutely useless at PowerPoint as well, so. Okay, so let's have a look at the process. As you can see, this has got the prereq in place. This is a VM that's been hybrid Azure AD joined. As you can see on it, it doesn't have an MDM authority. I'm wanting this device to flip here and have Microsoft Intune as the MDM at the end of this process. Okay, let's kick it off. See what happens. So this is the demo that will work because it's recorded. This is that pilot collection I was talking about. That's that top level auto enrollment collection. I can just make sure devices drop in there just to do auto enrollment for me. So I'm going to add in that particular device to that collection. There we go. So once that updates, I can then go back to the device itself. And this is the co-management handler log, okay? And this log file reports back everything around the MDM enrollment, the changes in workloads, etc. It's the key one to go to for any kind of activity that happens around co-management. As you can see here on the actual ConfigMgr applet, co-management is currently disabled on that device. It has a co-management capability, and this is set to 1. And this will give you some indication of when you flip workloads, the capabilities will change. It will give you an indication of what workloads are assigned to that device, a quick eyeball of that on the device itself. Now, Ben Whitmore has a blog at byteben.com where he talks about the different numbers that the capabilities refer to, and that's definitely worth checking out. Okay, so okay, right, here you go. So this device is starting to try to enroll. Okay, I've run a machine policy retrieval on that, and it's now picked up that it's succeeded on enrollment. So back in the portal, you can see now the MDM's now changed to Microsoft Intune. And if I do a quick search for that in Endpoint Manager, the device has come in. So that's enrolled with Intune, and everything's good. Back on the device again now. I had to give this a reboot just to kind of speed things up, but the co-management setting is now turned to enabled, so that's great, and I can see that it's reporting back okay. Now these configuration items here, you've got config manager settings, pilot, auto enroll, and prod here. Now, if these aren't compliant, then there's an issue. You need to take a look at that. It could be one of the ones I see quite a bit is if customers don't bypass PowerShell scripts. So you go into the client settings and set that, and that fixes a problem here. I think I can't remember if it's the auto enrollment or it's one of the two. You go in there and you view the report, and you can see the error refers to not having signed scripts. But if this is not compliant and there's problems, you start digging into them. You can keep evaluating on auto enroll, and that co-management handler log will churn as you reevaluate there. So you can always go in there and give that a little kick to keep testing when you try and look at problems that you may have with enrollment. And trust me, you'll get a few down the line. Yeah, so that's the device enrolled, and as you can see straight away from that, you've got these immediate benefits as I mentioned before. You can wipe the device, you can delete it, you can do some syncing, etc. Things that you wouldn't normally have with your on-premise device. Okay. So that's a device enrollment and one that's worked, thankfully, because you can get problems, and you need to dig deep at times to find out what's happening. But what I'm going to try and do now is flip a workload on a device like Windows updates, move it to piloting on Intune, and I'm going to pick a collection. As soon as you can see, as soon as I pick the workload for Intune, it gives me the ability to select a collection that I want to use in SCCM. So I'm going to pick that one. So I would create separate collections, as I say, for each one of these and break things down a bit. So let's just apply that. Come on. Okay. Let's just flip to my collection. I'm going to add that device in. Okay, thought I'd already populated that, obviously not. Okay, so we want that device to drop in.
Paul, do you want questions at the end or in the middle now?
What time am I talking till as well? Is it quarter past?
Half 7.
Oh, is it? That's fine. Yeah, if there's any questions, you can do it. We can do 1 or 2 now while we're waiting for this to update.
So it's just on is sort of a time sensitive one. I'm going to skip over Imran because I don't know the answer just yet. But Chris, you've asked, can you elaborate on the configure upload tab on the co-management properties?
Yeah,
just a minute ago, so I assume that was on the screen. I was obviously reading the chat when that popped up. So
yeah, give this a second. It takes a moment to come up, as I say.
Yes, of course. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, so that would be this tab here, which is the configure upload tab. There, Paul.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to come back to that. That's cool.
Right.
Don't worry about that. That's going to be for tenant attach.
Thanks.
Well, I say that depends how much time I get. I will come back to it. Okay, that's in the collection. Right, cool. Now on my device, here we go. Sign in. Any other questions at all while we're waiting for this thing?
We do have, one from Imran, which I've just skipped over, but
all right.
Is it possible to configure hybrid join on platforms with several child domains, but where there's a requirement to configure hybrid domain join on selected child domains only?
Do you know, it's something I've not done, so I can't give you an answer on that one, unfortunately.
I thought it might be something you might want to figure out for the end, so I didn't want to.
Yeah, I've only had
that
to do it on single domains. I've been quite fortunate in that regard, so I can't give you an answer on that, unfortunately. But it's maybe something we can check out and find an answer to. Okay, so forgot what I'm doing now. Here we go. Let's fire this up. So this device has been added in for Windows updates, and I'm going to give this a little kick here. Hopefully this will speed it up. We'll come back to this one anyway, if we don't get I'm going to go with the usual. I'm just going to smack that a few times, even though I don't need to. And I'm just going to.
You could do what most of the engineers I've got do, and just do all of them.
Yeah, frustration. Yeah.
Yeah, just until it grinds to a halt.
Totally. Okay, so in the co-management log, you can see here that this is now talking about the workload flag. Rather than being 1, it should now be 17. Okay, and that's because I've moved that device into that new workload. So the capability changes by a certain number, as I say, but that number it gets added on to whatever it currently has. So it will always have 1. Windows updates must equal 16 because 16 plus 1 is 17. And so it knows about that, and hopefully now if we, let's see, if we close that back down and just open it up again, has the magic worked or not? If I can click the right thing, we'll find out. Yeah, hey, wow, fantastic. Live as it happened, that's now 17. Okay, so that device is set up to receive the policy for updates from MEM. So I can go into my MEM, I can go and pick my device, and let's see if I've actually added it in for updates, and then we'll come back to that later and see if it's actually picked that MDM policy up or not. So I can't remember if I've actually given it any group membership or not. Of course not. So let's do that. Bear with me. Quality updates, we'll go with this one.
I think you can see the workloads when you look at the device. It does show you the workload somewhere there on the device, I think.
Yes, you can. That's right. You can go through. That's a good call, actually. If I go through here and click on that, you'll get the workloads there. So you can see the Windows update for business is now pointing to it. So yeah, that's a good call. Rather than me going in and actually configuring it and looking at it on the device, this tells you what's in there. So that's pretty cool. And I can actually go in and I can't remember if it's in the properties. No. Okay. Don't worry. Where is it? No, it's not. It's not there. I can't remember what I'm looking for now. Never mind. Okay, cool. Okay, so that's an on-premise device which we've flipped over to Windows Update pretty easily, really, just by adding it in. If you have an internet-based client, then it's slightly different approach. In that you've got to get a config manager client onto it. So we'll be looking at bootstrapping that client onto the device. You can use a line of business app to achieve this, or you can package up a Win32 app. The details that you need for that, part of those are within the co-management properties. So that command line that I had earlier, there are a couple of others that you need to add in, and I'll show you those. One cool thing you can do is you can use a parameter which is provision TS, which means that when your device registers with your config manager instance, if you set this up, you put in the deployment ID of your task sequence. Yeah, as soon as that device registers, it will run a task sequence. So, you know, you may not be in a position to bring everything over into the cloud. You know, your applications, a lot of your configuration may already be still on-prem, and you can just pop it all in a task sequence and do the rest of the build from that. Okay. Now there are prereqs, and those prereqs are as such. You will need to have either EHTTP or PKI on your config manager instance. You'll need to have a cloud management service set up, and also you'll need a cloud management key. So those devices need to speak to that to config manager.
I assume if you didn't have internet-based clients and you just wanted to manage your on-premise clients with Intune,
yep,
you wouldn't need. I assume it because I mentioned it in chat earlier on. You don't need PKI or EHTTPS. You could just
exactly.
So as you are.
Yeah, so on these two paths, you know, it's not required here, but you know, bear in mind this is going to be mandatory next year from around October 2022. You will have to switch to either PKI or EHTTP. And yeah, so the internet-based ones will need that. The actual configuration of the application itself is pretty straightforward. Okay, I've got a line of business app here. I'm not going to show you how to push it out, but I've created a line of business config manager Bootstrap client. Okay, all I do is I take the MSI file. It's on the site server. I can't remember the exact path where it sits now, but it's in the Microsoft documentation. You just grab that MSI and you upload it in into here. But you need to configure your command line argument. As I say, a lot of that is already populated in your co-management properties. It will tell you that, but you must have a CMG set up for this to populate in the properties there of co-management, and also you must have the cloud management service set up as well, and I'll show you that in a moment. But yeah, so you'll take that information from there. You will then need to add in a couple of bits of detail around a client app ID and a resource URI. Now these are from the cloud management service. Okay, so what you would have to do as a prereq is create that service. So in config manager, under your admin again, under Azure services, you'd right click on here and configure an Azure service and go through the wizard cloud management. Now, as I say, as with co-management, sorry, I've already got one set up, so I'm not going to create another. So let's just bring up the properties here. Again, this will require you to authenticate as you go through the wizard. If I click on applications, we need to create a web app and a native client app. Now, yeah, you can't get back to them from there. But if I go into Azure AD, sorry, Azure, here we go. Okay, let me do a search for enterprise apps. Call them cloud. Okay, so you've got so it creates these native client app and web app. You will be asked when you create them to, I think it's the server app, which is this one here, to create a key and a validity period, 1 or 2 years or no period at all. I wouldn't recommend the last one. You know, go for 2 years, give yourself a little break. You don't have to renew that too quickly. And it asks you to, it asks you to create this hold on. Yeah, it will ask you to enter a URL for that. Be aware, this is going to be unique. If you've used it, I think it comes up as config manager service, I think, by default. Yeah. You may have configured this elsewhere for another app in config manager, so be aware, because if you do, you'll get an error message come up, which isn't very doesn't really explain what that error is. But when you dig deep, you find it's actually you're already using that URL. So try and give it unique. It's not really used that much beyond this, apart from obviously the connectivity from this from the bootstrapping client. Okay, and also so that will give you the URL resource URI. The native client app is the app ID section of that install parameter, and you would go in here and effectively just grab this application ID, put that in, so 9EC is the start of mine, and where am I? Config manager. Yeah, that would get, oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong bit now, hold on. Yeah, there we are. So there you go, there's the app ID and there's that URI that we'll be using. So you could tag on that provision task provision TS as well on there as another parameter to kick off the task sequence. So you just push this out effectively to your endpoint, and they will install the client. Now bear in mind that if you have PKI you will need to push out trusted root certs through Intune to the devices, and that will assist the device when it's back internal. So at the moment, it's not something we're worried about too much, but when the devices come back in, if they have that cert, they'll be able to talk to the internal roles, site systems, grab content from the local DP, etc. If you don't have the trusted root published to the device, what we found is that it will, even though it's internal, it will go back out to the CMG and route through that to do its comms. Okay. Just some considerations. I'm wary of time here. I've got to do tenant attach as well. Just some considerations when you do co-management. The impact of switching workloads. You know, this is why you would separate out with different collections, keep it granular to make sure that you're a bit aware of what's impacted when you make that switch. One of the things could be, for example, Windows Update. When you move, you might have some existing GPOs set that conflict and stop the device from actually being able to update when you change the workload. So just, you know, you'll see it, you try and sync or whatever on the device, try and check for updates, whatever, and it'll come up with an error. Edge is a good one. If you've got Edge deployed via Config Manager, and there's a little tick box when you create Edge, you can say, you know, don't update. So it allows you to control the updating of Edge through WSUS, through your Config Manager sub. When you flick the workload, then Edge could stop its updating process. Now you can get around that. Again, I'm going to refer to Ben Whitmore, who's done a good blog about this. He's used something called proactive remediations to change the reg key that controls Edge updating. Now, proactive remediations is part of Endpoint Analytics. We're not going to cover tonight, but you'll see a tick box for it shortly. When you flip your applications or your client apps, one thing I would look to consider is to implement the company portal and ditch Software Center, and that's just a client setting that you can deploy. I think it's software distribution. I think it's a client setting. You've got a little drop down. Do you want to use company portal, Software Center, or company portal? And if you switch to company portal, then you'll get everything in there. It looks pretty cool. Quite a nice thing to do. Yeah, so the last one talks around when you change device configuration workload. You know, if you change Windows updates, pretty obvious. Your Windows updates are going to be controlled in Intune. Device configuration, nothing wins. So you're going to have whatever policies you have from on-prem, as well as your policies, you know, profiles, etc., coming down from Intune. You've got to look at that because you could have lots of conflicts, lots of issues. You could look at something like MDM wins over GPO. That's only going to work for CSP policies that can be matched up and checked against the relevant GPO or relevant local setting. Same with apps. Nothing's going to win there, and that's why, you know, if you switch to company portal, you'll see apps deployed via Intune and apps that are coming from on-prem as well. If you were still using Software Center, you won't see those Intune apps. So little things just to bear in mind as you flip towards co-management. Okay, so let's focus on tenant attach for the last sort of 10 minutes, which is not. It's not enough time for 45 minutes to give any of this justice, really, and to dig deep. Tenant attach is, so initially when this came out, my initial thoughts were, oh, well, I'm co-managing. What tenant attach? I've already attached my tenant. Well, it's not, because co-management is about managing your devices. Tenant attach is around attaching your config manager instance to the cloud. The idea behind this is that Microsoft spent a long time changing from Config Manager 2007 to 2012, changing the console, the interface. A lot of programming hours went into that, how can they move this forward from where they currently are. Tenant attach is part of that process. It focuses initially on help desk scenarios, putting some of the quick wins in there that will help your support guys do some simple tasks. It's pretty easy to implement, really. ConfigMgr 2002 as a minimum. I'd hope you're all kind of running that release by now. If not, please upgrade. Again, global admins needed when you're setting this up, and this only supports, I think it only supports public cloud. I don't think it supports the US government. I think the majority of us are really going to be looking at public cloud, to be honest. Some prereqs. This is really, I'm not going to go into these too much. I think I'll just demo for the last 5 minutes or so, just to make sure that you have the correct rights in place. Okay, so access to internet endpoints for the devices, have certain permissions, right? Remote tasks under the admin center. This is one thing discovered with both AD and user discovery and Active Directory user discovery in the cloud management service. But if we'd have carried on through that, we would have ticked a box for that. Prereqs for applications. I'll show you an application going down shortly, but your applications must be set to available, and this tick box is pretty new. Look out for it as you go through the wizard of creating an app. An admin must approve a request for this application on the device. Okay, if that's not ticked, you won't see that application appear in the tenant attach admin center. Yeah, just some logs here really. So if you have problems with tenant attach, the admin service log on the config manager and the config manager logs folder is the place to go. Also this CM gateway notification worker. A lot of the times it's a firewall or something. You may have some issues there, or a service is down or something. You just check those, make sure they're churning away. Whenever you click an action, tenant attach action in the portal, you'll see things happening in this admin service log. Okay, let's show tenant attach. Now, if I go back to a device, let's pick that 08 device. Here we go. Now, all these things that are appearing here, preview, are all to do with tenant attach. Okay. Now, depending on which version of config manager you're running, determines what you can and can't do here. So, say for example, you're only running 2002. I think it's something like Resource Explorer might not be available to you. You can try and run it, but it would tell you that you're not running the right version. So let's have a quick look at some of these things. Resource Explorer, well, this is pretty much what you get with your Resource Explorer in Config Manager. If I click on this, I'd expect to see down here, if it's talking properly. Let's give it a moment. Yes, if that hadn't come up and I had an error pop up here, that admin service.log would be one of the first places I would go to see if it actually tried to talk through to the config manager. And I can click on here and I can get details back about the computer system. It's pretty cool. Collections. I'm just going to click on a few randoms here. I can see exactly which collections that device is in. Scripts is a good one. If you publish PowerShell scripts, any script that's been approved will appear in here, so I can run a script. It would list them all here. I've got one here called get free space. Let's give it a run. And I think, do I refresh now? Let's give it a refresh. There you go. So it currently tells me it's running.
Scripts for me was a massive a massive change, a massive improvement, even in the config manager world. You know, the idea that you could instantly run anything you want on the client and get an instant response.
Yeah, that's
such a massive. It's such an obvious thing to be able to do, given what what SCCM can do. But yeah, it was such a massive change. But now you can run it from Intune, so your Intune based engineers can run that without needing a console.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing, the help desk scenario. So you could create all these scripts that do various cleanup jobs, whatever, you know, kick them all off here. And I'll get, here we go. Look, it's giving me the output. Obviously there's a process, because as you say, you could create these scripts and do all sorts. There's a danger there. So there's an approval process in Config Manager itself, where someone will create the script, the other person goes off and says, yeah, I'm happy with that, approve. Or you could just have 2 accounts and be cheeky and approve it yourself. It's not great. Ignore that, I didn't say that. Okay, so that's that. On applications here, you know, we can very quickly push out these apps. So these apps have got that box ticked, they're available. So let's go with Greenshot, for example. Now, if I click install here on the device, I'm hoping that I will see the application log kick in. Let's have a look, see if App Discovery is doing its thing. Oh, App Enforce, let's open that one up. There we go, it's doing it, there you go. It's churning away, Greenshot, push for notification using the BGB fast channel notification to very quickly install something on the endpoint. And there you go, it's there. And you know, it's super quick. And you know, the user just rings up, oh, could I have this? And the help desk guy goes, yeah, let me have a quick look. Oh yeah, I can push this to your device. It's there in no time at all. Really cool. And I can even this thing it's hold on, let's give it a refresh. This thing will report back. At the moment, slight lag in that, it's not much, because in a moment it'll come back and say it's installed. But yeah, there you go, installed, job done. Refresh that, and again, okay, you might want to get rid of it. Yeah, same thing, it's going to be instant, pretty quick, job done. One cool feature here is timeline. Okay, so tenant attached, what I didn't actually do is show you where it's turned on, which is a question we had earlier. So I'll bring timeline up shortly, but if I go back into Config Manager, this is a cool thing, collection synchronization. So when I'll go back to tenant attach a minute, because I like to highlight this. So collection synchronization is something you can turn on when you create the cloud management service. Now, the cloud management service is not a prereq of co-management, but you might want to turn this on as part of co-management to do some collection syncs up into Azure. So you turn this on, and then on a collection itself, if I pick this one, I think I'm doing a sync here on this. Check the properties of your collection. You've got this cloud sync tab. Okay, I'm not doing it, but if I click add, I can search. Let me just do a search for all. And yeah, it wants me to authenticate. Oh, hello. That's a good one, isn't it? That's a good tenant. Let me pick it. Yeah, all the ones. Oh, go away. Come on, go away. Let me pick another collection. I think this might be syncing already. But effectively, you just create an AAD group, an assigned group, not dynamic or anything like that, just an assigned group. No, it's not there. Okay, let's see if this will starts with. No, okay, fine, no matter what. No matter, it doesn't matter. So you effectively, it would sync the members of the collection up to that AAD group, which I find is very handy when I'm using co-management, because I can take the Windows Update collection and I can create this Azure AD group that updates whenever I drop something into that collection, and the workload gets flipped. So I'm automatically populating that group that's assigned to my Windows Update profile. So it's pretty cool for that. Anyway, that's an aside. Okay, let's go back to this. Yeah, so this configure workload tab. Now, this tick box says upload to the admin center. That's turning tenant attach on. Yeah, you can again be granular, specific collection, etc. But I've just gone gung ho on this one because I just want to get everything up there, and that's the recommended. Now this will bring servers up and everything. Whenever you've got a client on, they will all appear, and that's how you turn on tenant attach. Pretty simple. This one here is enabling endpoint analytics, another pretty cool thing you might just want to turn on, and this will give you access to startup time information, that kind of thing, proactive remediations, etc. Not talking about that tonight, but that's definitely one you want to take a look at. Okay, so timeline in the time I've got left. No events. Okay, great. But if I filter, hopefully we've got some events against this. So this will gather a timeline of information around certain event types. Okay, critical, warning, error, etc. With different sources. So it could be Windows Update, for example. Could be boot source. Could be an application hang. That kind of thing. So you can start to get a picture of things on the device. Here we go. So on now is that, yeah, that's the American date. So that's the 5th of June. Application hang, a green shot stopped. Okay. Well, there was a shutdown. Does that that doesn't tie in, completely separate, but you could have an application that starts to hang, starts to crash frequently, and you can take a look at this. Okay, so what's just happened on the device? Oh, okay, bunch of Windows updates have just come down and that application started crashing since then. Could it be the fact that I've done a feature update and since then this application just doesn't like working alongside that particular version of Win 10? It's a pretty cool thing to tap into, really. There are other things in here, CM pivot, for example, against the device, etc. But we are pretty much out of time, almost, I think. Yeah, that doesn't say anything on my next slide. So, yeah, that's a very quick overview of co-management and tenant attach. There is a lot to talk about, and I think I've gone on for an hour as well. And to be honest, we're skimming the surface because they had a lot more to talk to you about when things go wrong or stuff like that and logs, but such is. So
thanks, Paul. So that thing you just showed there about the application hanging and stuff. Anyone coming into Intune and stuff from other, well, maybe new to Intune, going, well, it's obvious that you can find that information now about devices, and it's really surely that information's right there. But to any admin who's used ConfigMgr or just group policy or non-Intune management for such a long time, that is incredible to have that information at your fingertips, to click on the device and see what happened. That would take such a long time to drag out of that device through event log and through logs to actually get that kind of insight. And it's now just there, sat there going, this happened, by the way. Really
to throw in endpoint analytics as well. I don't think I've got anything really set up here on analytics, but startup performance, recommended software. I think one of those is Autopilot, isn't it? It's like, we want you to use Autopilot, but one of the biggest performance. You might see straight away that group policy is slowing down your startup times, or well, you start to analyze this, don't you? Why is it taking me so long to get to the desktop? It may be the fact that there's a bunch of laptops out there that have still got the old spindle discs, and you're aware of that, but this will just confirm it. So that's that little tick box at the bottom of that upload tab, and this is a whole extra thing to talk about, really. But it's stuff that we didn't have info on without, as you say, digging deep and finding it, and now it's all here. Just by clicking a couple of things. Brilliant.
And not just there, it's in a format that management can see it and actually appreciate it. Well, so on Endpoint Analytics, Katie has just mentioned that she's wrote a blog on that recently. So last month she wrote the Endpoint Analytics blog. So that's in chat now if you want to go and see that. But yeah, is that you all finished up?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, cheers. I don't know if there's any other questions. I've not been looking at Teams at all, but yeah, any questions, just drop them in the chat. I'll be around for a little bit.
Great.
Yeah, so there are a couple of questions in chat. We have left them in case you can help.
Yep.
I say we left them. I didn't have an answer, so everyone else has been helping to answer those questions. So thanks if you can spend a few minutes looking through those. If everyone doesn't mind just unmuting, either saying thanks or giving a quick round of applause, that would be lovely. Or come off camera and say hi, that'd be lovely. Clapping on mute is no fun. So.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. So next up, we've got Viktor, who is, yeah, there you are. You're on the screen. Thanks for coming along. You're going to talk about Passwordless and temporary access pass in specifically.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Let's see.
You're very welcome.
Start sharing my screen. There we go.
I can
Everyone
see
see. Everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah. So, as mentioned, temporary access pass is it the key for unlocking passwordless? I just want to start out by saying that, you know, English isn't my first language. It's not even my second language. So I do apologize if I pronounce some words wrong or if I sound too much of an American. But yeah, you'll just have to live with it for now. A quick introduction about myself. Let's see if I get the slide to change. My name is Viktor Hedberg. I work as a security architect, security advisor at Atea in Sweden. We're a large consultancy firm offering services from, yeah, whatever you want to do with IT. Atea can help you basically sell hardware, software, and of course consultancy services, which is my cup of tea at the moment. I've been working with identity and access management and IT security in the Microsoft hemisphere for about 8 years, I think. So in those terms, I'm quite new to the game, but I'm trying to stay current and staying one step ahead all the time. More recently, my focus has shifted a bit from identity and access management to more focus on, you know, security stack in specific, but identity is still a thing that, you know, beats close to my heart. So diving right in, what is temporary access pass? Well, as it says on the screen, it's a time-limited passcode that serves as a strong credential, and it could be used to solve onboarding, recovery, and forgot scenarios. So just a quick mock-up on what a temporary access pass is and how it could be used. It could be scoped to either users or groups or both. We do have a configurable lifetime on these passes. The minimum is 10 minutes, maximum is 30 days, and the default one is 1 hour. We do have some settings regarding if they're supposed to be used as a one-time thing or, you know, a standing strong credential for you to use when it comes to authentication. We'll talk a bit more about it when we look at, you know, how it looks and how we as an administrator can issue an access pass, stuff like that. But there's no harm in setting it as, you know, you can use it more than once, because as you all know, with app secrets or stuff like that in Azure, once you granted a temporary access pass, it stays hidden. You can't read the temporary access pass, even as a global administrator. We do have some configurable length options. The default one is 8 characters long, and it's randomized. It's alphanumerical characters as well as special characters. The biggest one we can use is 48 characters. And there are some, not each and every admin role can issue passes. Not each and every admin role can alter the temporary access pass policy. Those kind of settings are limited to higher privileged administrators in Azure AD. So the first one, global administrators, they can create, delete, and view details of a temporary access pass on any user. A caveat here is, no matter what your permissions are, you cannot issue a temporary access pass for yourself. So it has to be for someone else, right? Same goes for privileged authentication administrators. They can do pretty much the same stuff as a global admin in this case. Then we have authentication administrators who can't issue a temporary access pass for, say, another administrator, only on the users, not admin users. But same goes for each and every one of these, that they cannot add a temporary access pass as a strong authentication method for themselves. And as I said, yeah, global administrators can view the temporary access pass details. That means when was it issued, when would it expire, is it a one-time use or not, those kind of things. But you can't read the actual pass. It's one time, one and done kind of thing. And of course, all of this is fully configurable using Graph APIs. I just want to point out that if you have any questions, feel free to ask them while I'm presenting. I won't be able to keep up close with the chat or anything like that. So if there are any questions, feel free to unmute or write it in the chat, and we'll take it later.
Thanks, Victor. Yeah, if there's anyone who isn't comfortable with unmuting, I'll shout your question out if it looks relevant.
Yeah. You have some more settings. We can set a configurable start time. For instance, if we do have a onboarding scenario, we have a new colleague brought into our company or what have you, we know that the person starts his or her employment at the 1st of July. Starting up at the 1st of July, we can configure that the temporary access pass starts being valid on the 1st of July. We can configure it beforehand, export the pass itself and put it in an envelope saying, welcome to our company. Here's your temporary access pass. Use this to enter your YubiKey or your Microsoft Authenticator app.
Could I ask on that specific scenario?
Yeah.
Victor, before temporary access pass, what was the alternative for that? In that exact scenario, a new user joining the company, it would be the password would be perhaps in that envelope, or
yeah, it would be the password accompanied by your company issued mobile phone or your company issued YubiKey or whatever. But you still need to have, as temporary access pass is not a password, it's a strong authentication method. So it's the equivalent of using MFA rather. So yeah, the equivalent before temporary access pass would be username, password, and a second factor.
Okay, so a temporary access pass in the envelope is better than a password in an envelope.
Yeah.
Right. Cool.
As I said, not only the policies for temporary access pass is configurable using the APIs, you can also issue temporary access passes using the APIs. I've actually written a blog post on how to perform this, but I'm hoping the demo gods are with me today, so I'll be able to show you guys how to do it. And as I said, the pass may or may not be used multiple times during its lifetime. So given that I'm a security consultant, I'd like to see temporary access pass usage as a one-time kind of thing. This is your onboarding key. Use this temporary access pass to enroll it to MFA in our company, and beyond that, you'll not be using that temporary access pass ever again. Same goes for, I forgot my mobile phone, my YubiKey got dried in the dryer at home, what have you. The temporary access pass, in my opinion, should be used as a one-time kind of thing. Because we all know how users can be. Oh, I'll write this down on my Post-it note. I'll put it on my laptop. I'll put it in my drawer, and you get kind of paranoid working with cybersecurity in this day and age. So just a mock-up of how this flow looks. We have a user, and this could be, we have our new colleague, we have a present colleague who's forgotten their phone or what have you. You initiate a sign-in to Azure Active Directory by entering your user principal name or your unique identifier. But instead of asking for a password, the Azure AD portal will show you, enter your temporary access pass. Here we'll just put in the temporary access pass. As you can see, it's totally generated. I don't think there's anyone who could, brute force these kind of passes, especially if you up the length a bit on them from the standard 8 to 48. And that's all there is to it. After you enter the temporary access pass, you're signed in, the equivalent of using your username, password, and a second factor. So here, let's dive into the portal. I'll try to show you how to enable this. This is not a feature, as far as I know, that has any limitations as to which license you're on, stuff like that. But if you sign into your Azure portal, you go into Azure Active Directory, and under security and authentication methods, this is present in all your tenants as of now because it's in public preview. You'll find the temporary access pass listed. Here you can switch it on to enable, yes, no. The target, you could do a selected rollout of temporary access pass, like only these users are approved for usage of temporary access pass, or you could apply it to all users in that context. Out on the right, we do have the lifetime or some configuration regarding the passes themselves. We do have the minimum lifetime, the maximum lifetime, and the default lifetime. So as you can see, mine are quite slimmed down because, I wanted to play with this feature when I first found out about it. But the minimum lifetime could be altered from 10 minutes up to 30 days. Same goes for maximum lifetime. And be wary when fiddling with these settings because you don't want to be in a position where you constantly need to reissue temporary access passes for your users, right? So when a user calls the first line help desk or whatever, make sure that these settings are up to par with the expectancy of your competence of your users. length, yeah, from 8 to 48, and this setting here indicates whether it's a multiple use temporary access pass or a one-time use. And I think the multiple use kind of negates the the first word in temporary access pass, which is temporary, right? So when all this is said and done, the temporary access pass feature is enabled for your tenant. And if we just jump back into the presentation here. So there are some limitations when it comes to TAP as it's in its current state. It is in public preview, so it's not in GA yet. So there are, of course, some limitations. I'm hoping that Microsoft will sort these ones out quite quickly, or at least before going to GA, because, and I do apologize, this is a wall of text coming straight from docs. So when using a one-time temporary access pass to register a passwordless method such as FIDO2 or phone sign-in, the user must complete the registration within 10 minutes of sign-in with the one-time pass. Otherwise, the sign-in will be revoked and the temporary access pass is revoked. So yeah, you're done. If you don't complete the whole process within 10 minutes from signing in, you have to start the whole carousel once more. As of now, guest users cannot use temporary access pass because, yeah, guest users are authenticated in their home tenant, not in your tenant when it comes to entering your username and password. I don't know if this is on the roadmap at all, but as of now, guests can't sign in using a temporary access pass at all. As I said, it is in public preview. And if there's any one of you on this call using Azure for US government, it's not available for you right now. But in all other Azure instances, this is available and could be used right up. Start using it today if you want to. I already have some customers using this for making sure that when you enter when you enroll your MFA devices, you use strong credentials rather than looking at, oh, I'm coming from this network or this device. We require you to use MFA to enroll in MFA. There's an excellent topic for where temporary access pass could be used. This is a quite tricky one. If you do have self-service password reset enabled on the same user for whom you grant a temporary access pass to, they'll be escorted right into, please enter your multi-factor authentication method for using self-service password reset. So instead of getting into my sign-ins or security info or anything like that, you'll just bang on get the image of, you need to download the Microsoft Authenticator app, or you need to enter your mobile number in order to sign yourself up for self-service password reset. It cannot be used with the Network Policy Server extension and Active Directory Federation Services adapter, or during Windows setup, out-of-the-box experience, and autopilot as of now. This is an issue that we've raised with the product group at Microsoft, and we hope to get it fixed as soon as possible. But as of now, this is a limitation, which of course negates the whole thing of use temporary access pass to, start being passwordless and staying passwordless. Because out of the box experience or autopilot scenario, you'd still need to have your username and password. When seamless SSO is enabled, instead of get this sign-in square that says enter your temporary access pass, it will say enter your password, and you need to click on the link below, the same one as I forgot my password, or I want to sign in using a different method. Sign in with a temporary access pass instead. So you need to make an active choice of choosing to do an authentication using temporary access pass in this scenario.
Is the bottom one a limitation, or do you think that one will stay and be a feature?
I see it as a limitation, because for every other user, if you use just password hash sync, the option to enter the temporary access pass is the default one. So in my eyes, it is a limitation, and I surely hope that it will get fixed, because I can only imagine how many users will enter their temporary access pass instead of their password, or misclicking on the little link stating that, oh, you want to sign in with a temporary access pass, click here. As we all know, if you're stressed out, oh, I can't get into my mail or whatever, mistakes will happen.
Sure, thank you.
So looking into some use cases for when to use temporary access pass. As I said, onboarding new employees or new colleagues, what have you. The process will look somewhat similar to what this images show you. A new employee go through some kind of identity verification process, and this process is, of course, showing up at your work, or engaging in a video call with your boss, stating that, hello, this is me, showing some ID or whatever. I am who I say I am. The IT department issues you a access pass, and as you can see on the top banner, we do have a time limit to adhere to. Whether this is 30 days or 10 minutes, as it is in my mockups or in my demo environment. But the next step is you could go into the aka.ms/mysecurityinfo and use your temporary access pass to sign in. This, of course, requires some administration from the IT department. As you'll see in the later demo, when we actually create a tab, you don't want to misspell the text message or the email or the printout or whatever, because it is, that's of course case sensitive. If you do miss the exclamation point, you won't get in. If you put capital P instead of lowercase p, you won't be granted access. So of course, there are strengths to having longer passes. As I said, 48 is the golden number, but there are, of course, human limitations to having long, complex passwords or temporary passes for use to authenticate your user. But the next step, you sign into the security info, you register your own credentials. It could be a YubiKey or a authenticator, or your mobile number for SMS authentication. And once you've done that, given that the infrastructure is already in place for going passwordless, you'll never use your password in this process. The only thing you'll use is, well, your user identity or your user principal name and the temporary access pass. After that, you do have your authenticator app or your FIDO2 token to sign into your device. So I really think and I really hope that temporary access passes will be used in these kinds of scenarios for customers looking on to, how can we go passwordless in a more broader sense. Let's say that we have an administrator. This administrator has a FIDO2 token which accidentally gets washed with his pants and then tumble dried or whatever. The FIDO2 token does not work anymore. In this case, you could use temporary access pass to gain access to your account. The process is kind of similar. You have an employee who goes through some kind of identity verification process. When it comes to administrators in this scenario, I'd like to think that there are, a quite tightly knit group in the company who do these kinds of things together, administer Microsoft 365, Azure AD. So the identity verification process should be quite simple in this scenario. But since you can't get access to your global admin account in this scenario, you do need to have some colleague do it for you. And the same kind of thing, the process is quite similar here as to the onboarding process. Get issued your temporary access pass. Once you redeem it, you do have access to all of your stuff, your emails, whatever you want on your admin account. But you can also add a new FIDO2 token or switch your preferred method of signing into the Authenticator app or enroll a new phone in Authenticator app. So let's have a crack at trying to create these kind of temporary access passes using both the portal, graph, and PowerShell. And I'll show you some differences between the three. So let's start with the portal. We've already enabled the policy for all of our users. We do have some minimum lifetime, maximum lifetime attributes to adhere to. But just picking out one of these guys, Chris Green in this example will get a temporary access pass. As you can see, there are no authentication methods listed on this user right now. So you just click on the add authentication method. And here you can choose the temporary access pass. We could delay the time for when to start. Let's say that Chris is a new employee and he won't start his position until the 20th. We do have the, when, at what hour should this become active and in which time zone. Since I'm based in Sweden, I go by the universal time code standard +1. So I'm 1 hour behind you guys already. And as you can see, given that the policy states that temporary access passes can only live for as long as 15 minutes, I, as an administrator, can't grant a single temporary access pass with a greater lifetime than what the policy says is is possible. As well as the one-time use option is grayed out. I can't switch it to no, because the policy enforces that one-time use is the way to go. Each and every user can't, or administrator can't undo what the policy states. So when we click on add, the temporary access pass is generated and it's showed here only once. As soon as I click on OK, this is not readable for anyone. So make sure to copy this. Otherwise, you know, you'll lose your whereabouts when you said to Chris, you know, now it's your time to sign in. Oh, crap. Actually, I said that. Yeah, whatever. That's how you create it in the portal. We can't use this one because, yeah, I said he started at the 20th. So this one won't become active until the 20th at midnight. But that's how to do it in the portal. And as you can see, if I just click on this one, view details, I get an ID. Each and every temporary access pass is associated with a GUID, which is, of course, unique for each user. We do get some information about the pass, its validity period, when it was created, is it a one-time use or not, and of course, is it usable? So in this case, no, it's not usable because it's not yet valid. Switching over to Graph Explorer, we do have the same possibilities to issue a temporary access pass according to our policy. I saw it in the chat that someone has already found my blog, my blog post on how to do this using Graph. But here you simply put a post request to the specified endpoint, which is in beta. Users, user principal name, authentication, temporary access paths, methods. And of course, you do need some permissions when it comes to using Graph. These ones are down here. User authentication method. You do need user authentication method read, write, all. So this one, which I already consented to in my tenant. So once we've done that, we simply add an empty JSON payload because we don't want to set any settings. We just want to issue a temporary access pass, which Cynthia, in this case, can use right away. So we'll run this query. Hooray, we got a 201. And as you can see here in the response, you get the same kind of information which we could read in the portal. But as I said, this response, yeah, the temporary access pass is visible here up until when you provide another request towards Graph. So this is my preferred way of issuing these passes because it gives me, more wiggle room to do stuff rather than clicking OK and then crap, I forgot to copy the pass in itself. So now let's try to sign into the info as Cynthia. And as you can see, I'm greeted with the enter temporary access pass prompt. I'm given the option to show the temporary access pass just to make sure that I put this in as I was given by my administrator.
Could I ask briefly why is it offering you the temporary access pass as the default? You mentioned earlier on, and I didn't know what you meant, but that sort of asking for the tab rather than the password.
Yeah,
why is it doing that?
Yeah, my environment is doing this because it's a cloud-only environment. So I'm only authenticating directly to the cloud. Given that you have seamless SSO or pass-through authentication available or enabled, you do need to go through your on-prem environment in order to authenticate to the cloud. So that's why, as I've gotten, the explanation that I've got is that once you have either of these configurations enabled, the option to enter your password will be the default one, whether or not you actually have a temporary access pass available.
Mm-hmm. So is it, so for your environment with the Azure AD only one, is it showing temporary access pass because there is one available?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So since Cynthia has a temporary access pass granted to her user, the preferred option is to enter your temporary access pass.
Cool. That's good. Thanks.
So as Cynthia, and as you can see, more information required. Cynthia is enrolled for self-service password reset. And in that case, we do need to enter some information. As you can see, method 1 of 2, self-service password reset. But once we're here, we do have a 10-minute time limit to adhere to, but otherwise we're good. We're able to add the Microsoft Authenticator app for our Cynthia user, or rather, Cynthia is able to add the Authenticator app and set it as her preferred passwordless alternative, or maybe adding a FIDO2 compliant device. So yeah, the last thing I wanted to show you guys was how to do this using PowerShell. You could use the CMUG module for performing the issuance of temporary access passes. However, this, as well as clicking OK in the portal, comes with some limitations. But yeah, let's just cancel out that one. I think I'm already connected to CMUG here. If we want to add some settings when it comes to the specific properties of the temporary access pass, as I showed you in the portal, we could say that, oh, this temporary access pass is only available from this date going forward. We could use PowerShell, or we could use Graph to do the same kind of stuff. But in short, just let me copy paste these. We do have properties, which is the JSON payload, really. It's usable once. My policy already says that it is only usable once. Properties start date time. From when do we want this temporary access pass to be activated? And once we've converted those to a JSON payload instead, properties JSON, we can see that it's a JSON format, and we can now use it to issue a temporary access pass. So let's say that Cynthia already has one. So I think it's one of my users.
It's a nice short command that you've got there as well. The MG user
yeah.
Rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
Yeah, really. It's horrible. So I tend to use docs when it comes to using these PowerShell commandlets. Some of them stick to mind, but otherwise it just tap. Yeah. Because it's not really user friendly or administrator friendly right now. But let's try to issue a temporary access pass for Melissa. I do hope that she's one of my users. Yeah. And there we go. We get the same kind of info that we got when we issued a temporary access pass using Graph. We got an ID, created date time, is usable false because it's not yet valid. Some detailed info about the passes in itself. Yeah.
If we need to change the start date, question for Imran, if we needed to change the start date, would we just delete it and start again, or would can we change that start date?
No, you can't change the start date. It's written in stone as it is for that particular temporary access pass. So if you do need to change something, we need to edit the date, you need to delete the temporary access pass and issue a new one.
Yeah. Makes sense, thank you.
But we get the temporary access pass here, all 48 characters of it. So
you've used a variety of methods there to create that graph and PowerShell and Azure AD. Is there Chris is asking, is there a VS Code module for that? Do you know of?
Not to my knowledge, no.
A very specific VS Code module. I'm not familiar with VS Code, to be honest.
No, not to my knowledge, there isn't. Let's see here. Melissa at anybody. Let's see. Enter password. Oh no. She has. Oh yeah. The temporary access pass is not usable yet. God damn it.
Well, we'll hang on 3 days. Don't worry. We'll wait a little while.
Or we could just do it like this, and I'll show you how to remove a temporary access pass from a user. Using graph, I need the ID. I'll issue a delete for the user, Melissa. And after this temporary access path methods, I'll just enter the ID for the temporary access path, which I want to revoke, right? So run query, no content 204, we're all good. So if I run the CMUG user authentication temporary access path method, user ID. We got a null response. So it's gone. So let's just start daytime. What date do we have today? We have the 8th, right?
Yeah.
14. Convert it back to JSON. So it should be valid now. As I said, this is in my time zone, so it's 9:14 here. UTC is 7:14 because, well, I'm on daylight savings time or summertime or what have you. Let's just want to get one more, not yet valid. Crap. No. Oh, the demo ghost, I guess. Sign in option. God damn it. Let me just try it one more time. Yeah. I can't get it to work. Well, as I said, there are three kinds of, or three different options to choose from when it comes to issuing these passes. And as you can see, we get to see the pass when we create it using PowerShell. So this could be used in an onboarding scenario. You use some PowerShell scripts to create your users, issue them a temporary access pass, and just pipe that value out to a CSV file or whatever. But when we try to look at the details of a temporary access pass, we can't read it anymore. So it really boils down to, once you create it, make sure to copy it for the user who it's intended to use.
Thank you. Katie in the chat just mentioned that it might be looking for UTC rather than your local time, given that it's Azure and unnecessary. So it might be looking at that. That could be why it's not allowing it, perhaps.
I'm blaming the demo gods.
yeah, maybe. I love troubleshooting. I'd sit here for hours trying to work out why that wouldn't work. But yeah, fair enough. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So important things to remember. Admins can create tabs for users or members as such, but not for themselves. So even if you're a global admin, you can't issue a temporary access pass for yourself. You'll get greeted by an error, forbidden. And this is, of course, to make sure that if your admin account does get compromised, you can't have a threat actor issuing a temporary access pass for your global admin account to use over and over and over again, right? So it kind of makes sense. You cannot read the tap once you close the blade in the Azure portal. Once you, bidden in clear screen or whatever in PowerShell. Once you navigated away from the creation part, you're blind for what the pass really is. So these are important things to remember. And that's all I had for today. Thank you so much for listening.
That was good. Thank you very much. That was really good. So that was obviously a great deep dive of temporary access pass. Well, I personally think it's the obvious next step toward passwordless, which is what you were sort of going towards there, I think. Hopefully, as you say, it'll start getting more use over the coming months and years. Certainly none of the companies I work with have started to use it in anger, but maybe when it becomes more generally available, it might get used more thoroughly. Yeah, so thank you. If everyone wants to come off mute and say thanks or give a quick round of applause, that'd be lovely. Please do. Awesome. Thank you very much. If there are any questions in chat, well, please put them in chat if they're not already there. And Viktor, please if you have some time, look through those. That'd be lovely. So, yeah, the final bit of this session was a quiz, and I just need to share my screen, which I failed to do. Give me a second. Just talk amongst yourselves while you're waiting.
So Viktor, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. I had a question while we're waiting for Dean there. You were using the Azure portal to kind of make the changes to temporary access pass. Was there a reason why you do that rather than MEM, or any particular reason?
Just because that's the way I'm used to doing it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's none other than personal. What do you say? I find it easy to use the Azure portal to navigate the policy settings and
Sure.
stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good, thanks. So yeah, so we mentioned there will be a quiz at the end of this, and here we go. So this is Menti. If you go to menti.com, either on your phone or in any web browser, you can get to this and type in the code, which is shown at the top, and we will get started. So as I said at the start, there's a £20 or equivalent voucher for first place and £10 for second place. Because once I came second place in a quiz and they didn't give a prize, and I was really sad. So yeah, I'm not going to be that mean. Just wait for all the random avatars to pop up. I don't think size or avatar has any indication of what Mentimeter thinks
Just
about you as a
random.
person. It is just random.
Yeah, my bird is so small.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, who's the small red bird? That's really,
Yeah.
that's not. What's that saying? It's or the tiny donut. Come on, it's. Okay, we've got 15 people. There are 24 attendees I can see who are actually eligible to. Well, actually, Victor, you're also eligible because you've not had any input into the chat. So I'm going to give it a few more seconds before we start. There are only 5 questions, as you can see. So it's not going to be too hard. It's a very easy way to win 20 quid if you fancy that. So do join. We'll give it another minute for people to join, because I appreciate loading a web browser and typing menti.com can be challenging this time in the evening. Still at 15, and it's possible that the other 9 people are just either asleep or have gone to do something.
I guess asleep.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll crack on. So I'm going to start the countdown. And so how it works is I will read the question to you. You have about 5 seconds to hear me read the question, and you've got to choose the answer from your phone. I'm not going to read the answers because it would take too long, and it would be mean because you'd have to listen to me rather than read. So I'm just going to go ahead and read the question and let you choose the answer. Also, it's fastest finger first, so you get more points if you win. Which production config manager version first supported tenant attach? If you got that right, it was 2002. Good. I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't checked it before I started. So let's see what the leaderboard's done. That is Andy was fastest. Well done.
Yeah, that's not me, by the way.
No, I didn't think it would be, buddy.
Thanks.
So, in what month was Temporary Access Pass released to public preview? Not bad. Not bad. Yeah, so the answer was February 21. 4 of you got that right. Let's see what that's done to the leaderboard. And I don't know what the animation does. It confuses me so much trying to follow it. Victor, you have done very well there. Obviously, well done. Good. Next, we have a temporary access pass can be used during autopilot or the out-of-box experience. True or false? That was false. 12, you got that right. is tight. Well, I say it's tight, apart from Viktor steaming ahead. It's tight for second place. Okay, next question. Oh, sorry. Which of these is not a deployment mode for an autopilot profile? Apologies, bit off topic, but there you go. Everyone answered nice and fast. And almost everyone come along with hybrid, which is good. Yeah, it isn't. Good. So next up, we will take a quick look at the leaderboard and see that. Again, I have no idea what's going on here. Ah, brilliant. It's more level now. Unlucky Viktor. Sorry, that was slightly off topic. Next, we've got some feedback questions. So these aren't included in the quiz, so please don't feel the need to rush the answer. An honest answer would be appreciated here, especially for this one. Where are you located? Just click approximately where you're located in the world. We're really interested in understanding approximately where you are, because we know that this isn't based in the UK, in various bits of the UK, to be honest. So it'd be good to understand approximately where you are. And this obviously isn't recorded as to your information. You've not given your name. Maybe you've given your name, but we're not going to use that to track you down.
Or are you?
Maybe. Maybe. But the resolution on this map isn't that good. I'll be searching in southern. I don't even know where that is. Where is that? Is that
the English Channel? It looks like.
I meant the one in America.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You've got San Francisco, I guess, on the top left. No,
that looks
that's
like
towards Canada, isn't it? That
looks like Seattle or something.
Houston.
We have a problem.
Yeah. All right, so that's 12. I'm going to move on. Thanks for that information. That's really good. In the next event, would you like to see? So we'd like to understand whether this format is working for you. So 2 main speakers of around about an hour each, or 1 main speaker with sort of smaller talks about different types of content, or just all lightning talks of 15 minutes with no main speaker taking up that hour session. Good. All right. Good spread, but a good majority on the hour sessions. Thanks for that. That's good confirmation. Thank you very much. Really good. Okay, so final question. Sorry for sneaking those feedback ones in there, but we want to actually get the feedback from you guys. So it's really good. Thank you. Final question. Is it possible to connect multiple config manager instances to a single Intune tenant? True or false? The answer was true, and 4 of you got that right. Which means that we're going to have a bit of a shake up at the top, I think. Let's take a look. Again, no clue what's going on here. This is just moving figures. Right, okay, so we have a winner of, I wish I could pronounce that. Apologies. I'd like to try. That person came first, and Mike Salmons came second. So if you can make yourself known in the chat, or reach out to me separately on Twitter at Dean_Ellaby, or using the Twitter handle for this group, then we'll get you your prize. So congratulations to those 2 fellows. Thank you very much. Other than that, that's pretty much. Go ahead, Andy.
I was just saying, well done. That was Anthony Crotti.
Ah, brilliant. Ah, very good. Yeah. Well done. Well, you did win, Anthony. Well done. 15th is last place. Yeah, there were 15. Katie, yeah, that was. Yeah, congratulations if you managed that. So yeah, thank you very much. This is typically where we do some networking. If you want to come off mute and have a general chat, then please do feel free. I'll stop sharing the screen so you don't feel like you're just staring at a random leaderboard. How do I do that? There you go. So yeah, thanks for everyone for joining. The next session will be on the second Tuesday of next month. I say it like that because I don't actually know when that is. That would be the 13th of July. So the next session will be then, and we have Jerry Hampson as the main speaker in that session, covering. I've forgotten what he's covering, I'm afraid, but he's covering something really good. In fact, he didn't really specify what he's covering, to be honest. His session that he's put forward, that we have accepted, is oh, okay, he did. So Windows Virtual Desktop is really cool. So I assume he's referring to Azure Virtual Desktop, but yeah, he will be talking about the Virtual Desktop platform hosted in Azure, covering Windows 10 multi-session generally. And he says it's really cool. So we're going to be covering that in the next session. So please do come along for that. That'll be awesome. We will have a quiz. We might even have a sponsor for next session, so there might be a bit more interesting with regards to the quiz. We don't know, but we'll see how that goes. But again, thank you so much for everyone for joining, and thanks for taking part in the quiz.
Yeah, thanks very much, everyone. Just to add, if in going forward, we'd like to hear from people, and if there's specific topics that people would like to see some information on, if we get enough people that kind of vote for it, we'll maybe put a poll up or something like that. We can try and deliver and get some good sessions and presentations, so it kind of meets what you're looking to watch, really.
Yeah, indeed. So the call for speakers is still open. We're constantly looking for people to give awesome talks like Viktor and Paul just now. If you do feel like you're interested in giving a small talk, then that would be awesome to do, and we'd be very happy to have you on. So yeah.
So has anyone got any more questions they want to raise while Viktor and that is here? Please go ahead and ask away.
Well, Andy Wilson's got to drop. Yeah, is this your first or second time, Andy? I know you've watched a couple on the YouTube channel. So thanks for the support over the months. This is only the third session, so yeah, this is really new to all of us, to be honest. So it's good to have that support consistently. And Katie, yeah, if you'd like to do a lightning talk, if you'd like to submit a lightning talk, we'd certainly squeeze that in and make sure that you were, you felt welcome, felt able to do that. It'd be great to have you on board. And my camera just overheated, which is why it went black.
At least your sound's working.
I know it's true, and that's that hurts really, because it wasn't my fault. John had me muted.
I think that was on purpose, was it?
It might have been. He tried to cover his tracks, saying it was when I reconnected. But yeah, he did an entire live stream without me having any audio, which was sad. And the worst bit is we had a load of viewers as well who just didn't care. So yeah. Yeah.
So Chris, I'm interested. What's your background? Where do you work, and where's your specialism?
Myself, well, I've on-prem last 16 years now, but moving to the cloud, into a role in the cloud. don't know much about the role yet, but I will be starting that next month. Moving into Azure, like data center migration, 365, Azure Virtual Desktop, which I'm sure Simon can fill me in on.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's been my background. Yeah, just managed to finally get me break in the cloud.
Right.
So just to try to attend as many user groups and that as possible, and you know, try and pick up what I can while I'm there.
Yeah, a lot of upskilling to be done, I guess.
Yeah, massively. A lot of my experience with Azure has just come from sitting the certs and that, but looking now to get more hands-on, really.
Okay. Are you attending any of the other user groups?
Yeah. I pop up on most of them, to be honest with you. The Welsh, Azure Thames Valley, LDNA, pretty much all the ones Simon stalks me to.
Are you coming to the Bradford one at the end of the month and watch me make a shambles of autopilot?
Yeah, definitely. If you're on there, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The community stuff's all fairly new to me at the moment, though. It's something I only discovered a couple of months back, really. But yeah, love it. It's great.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you like it? But yeah, it's a different way of learning, really, isn't it? I mean, I'm an old git, so I just hate having my head in a textbook and doing exams. So I learn by videos and just talking to people. So.
Yeah. But the community just opens so many more avenues for you to learn and branch off and pick up other bits.
Well, it's like the whole. I say WDV 0 to hero because that's what it still is until it gets rebranded. Like that whole thing with Shabazz just came out of just having a conversation over Twitter.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm doing well. I haven't caught up with the second one yet, mate, but caught the intro.
Yeah.
I mean, community for me, I mean, it's such a level platform, right? You start out, if you have something to say to people, you can say it. You don't need to have a status. You don't have a role. You can just go out there and talk about it. And if people want to listen, they listen. If they don't, they don't. It's not a big deal to you. It's such an awesome, open forum to say the things you need to say. So I think it is good. And Chris, if you fancy later on, once you're a bit more settled in your new role, you can have a lightning talk like Katie was referring to. It's a 15-minute. Whatever you've learned over the past couple of months, you could share it with everyone. You know, there's never a limit on who can talk on these kind of sections. Please do.
No, definitely. It's something I'm looking to to get more involved with. And to come up with a few presentations, sorting out my YouTube channel. Obviously I've just got my blog going, but need to bring some more tutorials out and stuff, trying to help back and get back to the community where people are giving wonderful information to me to myself. Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, there is a Discord server for YouTube creators. If you fancy joining that, it's a new thing by James Cook to share information for if you do start wanting to learn about YouTube, because there's a lot of stuff that you don't really. I certainly, when I started, didn't really know existed as a thing to care about that I now know. It'd be good to sort of share that with anyone who's interested, and James in that boat as well. So he's started that Discord. If you want to invite, reach out.
There's a fairly good YouTube channel out there as well called Get Modern. That's quite good. I came across it the other day. It's quite good.
Yeah.
Viktor, I'm interested. Is it Sweden you're from?
Yeah.
Sweden? It is, yeah.
Sweden.
What's the community kind of experience there in terms of user groups? Is it quite active?
Well, it's not as active as I would like it to be. I'm thinking about starting some user groups with focus on security and compliance, much like the security and compliance user group in London and whatever you guys have yours. But
we tend to talk at user groups, not as much host user group events in Sweden for some reason. I don't know. Speaking for myself, you know, you're kind of heavily loaded on the week in the week with your work and having to make sure your family's doing all right as well. And on top of that, using a user group, I think most of my colleagues in the business can sign up on those kind of things.
Yeah, I think ultimately, if this kind of goes the right way, it would be good to have a meetup at some point. But I think we are looking for some sponsors, and I think once we achieve that, you know, to help us in our calls, it might be easier to kind of hold a session. But yeah, ultimately that would be great to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely, because obviously it costs money as well as time to put these things on. And I believe there's a good few hidden costs that you don't expect. I know Dean's mentioned about Menti and stuff like that. There's a cost to that.
I mean, Menti is free for the stuff we've been doing. The 5 questions that we're limited to and the 2 feedback things is free, which is why we've moved to it. Hopefully the sponsor, if we do get one over the coming months, will allow us to have a couple more questions, perhaps, and a bit more feedback, so we can really understand what the feeling is across the attendees. But the original quiz platform we were using, I forget the name of it, was vast, so expensive. What was the name of it?
Kahoot,
massively expensive. It was like 200 quid for a year. It just, I mean, that wasn't even on my radar as a thing that would cost money, and 200 quid for the year. I was astounded by that, because you're limited to 10 attendees otherwise, and that's not, you know, we had 14, 15 on this session, and I don't think it's fair, you know, why would we limit you? But that's 200 quid for the extra 3 or 4 people just wasn't really. We moved off Kahoot.
Considering you're only going to probably have 12 sessions a year as well, if you know, it's steep that. I've used Kahoot with work, but in me, you know, my current role, but I didn't realise it was so expensive. Looks like my boss has put his hand in his pocket for once then.
Yeah, no, Menti's brilliant. I mean, it seems like a more professional, enterprise-ready sort of quiz and feedback platform. Quizzes are, you know, they're good, they're fun, but they don't have to be childish like Kahoot seems to be. So.
I think there's a massive opportunity out there for someone to do it for free, isn't there? I mean, this is for free, but I mean, a more extensive option out there.
Perhaps. I really like the Menti option, to be honest. I've seen, you know, I heard about it from Microsoft when they did a few workshops for us, and it was good.
Yeah, maybe like an open source platform or something. Someone may be able to come up with.
Yeah, and the Shabazz Dard had a chat with in conversation with Johnny Chips last week, and was talking about moving user groups to venues, you know, to do a sort of hybrid of on-premise and virtual. And I thought that was a really good insight into the challenges you might have with that. Because that's going to be fun. We've considered the option of sort of a roadshow with a virtual attendance option, because we've got, as you saw from we didn't really zoom into the UK to see all the different possible points in the UK, but it certainly wasn't all London. I'm not in London, and I think Andy's the only one close to London. Anyone else close to London?
I'm definitely not.
I'm not too far away.
So I mean, we are well widespread. We can't just pop to the same venue. So even this group of people that are here are going to need to be virtual in some way, unless we all get together It's going to be fun. I think post-COVID, post-lockdown, we're going to have some fun trying to work out how user groups work. But I'm really glad that we're all here and working that out together, to be honest.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think this is, I've said it before, you know, with others, as bad as COVID has been and everything, you know, things like this and has opened up opportunities for people to get involved. I mean, I know Matt Bradley, he attended one in America. Obviously, you're not just going to jump on a plane and fly to America for a user group. So, you know, it opens potentially. You know, obviously got Viktor from Sweden. I'm sure he wouldn't have jumped on a plane just to fly over to present. You know, no, so there's tons of opportunities to, you know, and network worldwide.
Yeah, but you know, this Viktor, obviously you're not in the UK, you're not local to me or anything, and this was good because I'm virtual as well. If I was local, if I was in a pub or if I was in a cafe sitting with 30 other people watching you on a screen, that wouldn't be as good as me being in the same position as you. So it's again level playing field and everyone being the same right now because of COVID. That makes this so easy to do, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And you're also getting different points of views of where, you know, people might do different things. You know, I think there's just been mentioned about the user groups are slightly different in Sweden as they are to how we have them, where they're more it's presentation with a little bit of chat. Whereas you said it's more talking. So, you know, it's ideas, isn't it, of gives you other ideas and options, you know, something that you could maybe think of.
No, indeed, yeah. I mean, we're following the format that I've been introduced to because I've only been in the community for 6 months, and I've followed the Welsh Azure user group, the Northern Azure user group, Azure Thames Valley, like you say, and this is the format they follow. So that's why this is, you know, it's same as Simon. That's the groups we're used to. That's why this is the format that we're going for. But if anyone who's still in the chat, still watching, has a suggestion on how we can change this, improve this, please let us know. We're limited with the feedback questions we can give on Mentimeter right now, but please feel free to let us know in the chat if you're interested in helping mold this and make this more impactful for you or for everyone else.
Yeah, definitely. I've actually thought maybe like mini hacks, you know, where you split off into groups and discuss how you will do something, set a task, and you've got an end goal, maybe 2 teams, and then you come together and discuss what you've gone with. You know, you may go with the same option, you may go with something different, something along them lines.
That's a good idea,
I think that gets more people, more interactive, and talking now, rather than just one person, you know, sat at the front of the. It's like being back in school, so, you know.
That's a good idea, actually.
Brilliant idea. Yeah, I think we should certainly look at that. That's a really good idea. I mean, we've done hacks, not mini hacks, where they were hacks in you know, with very well. I work for BT with Andy, and we have, you know, a big technical team where we try to get together and do this kind of technical thing of the hacks are really good sort of ways to get people talking and, as you say, interacting on a topic, because that's what drives us, right? Problems and troubleshooting and fixing things. So that makes sense. And yeah, I mean, really, we haven't got a profile of who is joining these sessions yet. We've got some names, and they're obviously anonymous names to me. They mean nothing. So we don't really know who people are. What level they are, whether they're joining, what reason they're joining for at all. So we're generally gathering feedback really slowly through these Mentimeter quizzes. But yeah, we might have a lot of really good technical people. Obviously, we have from what we saw in the chat with Mark Burns giving answers to pretty much every question. Katie obviously responding to all the stuff she's an expert in. So yeah, it's really good to have those guys on board.
Actually,
yeah, I think that's a really good idea.
Let's open that up to others that are still on the call if they're listening. Do you guys think that would be a good idea? And any reaction to that?
I
No.
would say that I think those people are. Oh, Chris Marshall.
I am still around.
There you go. Chris, can I just say, this is really off topic, but can I just say, don't you look a lot like Simon Lee?
Well,
Can you go on camera? Or is it
no,
not
because
appropriate?
I closed my camera.
All right, okay. You do look a lot like Simon Lee. Just yeah. Anyway, never mind.
Is there an age difference between you and Simon?
And
No,
I do feel sorry for Simon.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Simon felt fine about himself until you said that.
Pretty much. I'm gonna go away and cry now. It's fine. Don't worry.
That's such a thing Chris would say. All right, so Chris is awake. Mike Salmon's also came off mute there, so thank you. So what we find in the past couple of sessions is people have joined and then forgotten to close down the window when they've had to go and do something else. So we leave people on mute at the end. But thanks for you two sticking around. What do you think about the hack then? Is that a good idea? Should we?
Yeah. I'd definitely be up for something like that. Taking a topic and having a chat with other people and seeing how they're dealing with it and what they're doing would be useful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
'Cause
think
we could-
It's different. I think it's to what other people do, which is a lot of presentations.
Yeah. But if we had two presenters who were similarly skilled in a particular area, two presenters who knew the topics really well, they could run separate rooms for people to talk about the same kind of thing, and then come to the main group at the end with an answer. I've seen that run by Microsoft a few times as a way to run a hack, to break groups off into 3 or 4 different groups. Obviously, we're not that big, so we probably couldn't do 3 or 4, but it would be good to explore that a bit better. But yeah, thanks. That would be, if you're interested in that, that'd be awesome. Let's explore that.
I suppose the only thing you might get is some attendees on these things where they prefer to stay silent and just kind of listen in. So you might not get a lot of interaction with it, but maybe try it.
You need a person driving each group.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would, and perhaps we understand that at the start and planned the groups. Seed the groups, I guess, is the better way to put that, with people who are more outgoing and willing to speak on camera and lead a group. But
take a bit of organising. Could we do it on Twitch?
It would.
Maybe? We could do it on Twitch, could we?
Teams has the breakout capability.
Yeah,
I think Teams
Yeah,
also
it's got rooms now, hasn't it?
So I think, and to be honest, if we did it properly and if we gave it some thought, having people who are interested in leading a small group on a hack, that could be their opportunity of trying it out. That could be a thing that they join the group for. Because I've never done that. I think that'd be quite cool to do. So yeah, that might work. But yeah, you're right. I think it's it's got me thinking now. That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think also the quiet people that they may be a bit more comfortable in a smaller group, and then give them a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for?
A voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bit more
I was going to say,
confidence.
a bit more confidence in a smaller group when there's 2 or 3 people on camera rather than there's us 4 or 5 and then 40 people watching and a YouTube recording going on. Yeah, I can see why people aren't fully on for themselves to go on camera and say hi. Although that dog looks pretty eager to get on camera.
Yeah, he does. Come and say hello, Ted.
Is everything in your house white?
No, the dog isn't.
Well, I mean that was the thing that made me think it was, because I mean the dog is white,
Just
The
to
headphones
follow.
are white.
Yeah, I painted them. He was black, but I ended
Right,
up painting them
yeah,
when
yeah.
I painted these walls.
You do the
Right,
Mr. Bean option where you just kind of put dynamite in a paint tin and walk out of the room. No?
Yeah, definitely. Right, guys, I'm gonna have to dash because I think this boy needs to go out for W's. I'm not saying the word yet because he'll go mad. But I'll catch up with you later, guys.
Yeah, nice
Yeah,
talking.
no
Thank you very
stress.
much. Cheers.
You too. Take care.
So yeah, well, I mean, on that note, we did finish up half an hour earlier. Thanks for everyone for sticking around. If there's no more conversation that anyone wants to have, then we should probably end it here. And I'll trim the YouTube video to. Should I include this stuff? What do you think?
No harm. People won't watch it if they don't want to.
Yeah.
Fair enough. That's the spirit you do all your YouTube videos in, Andy, isn't it?
I'm forever positive that I'll get someone to watch the 2-minute level.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, good. Thanks everyone for sticking around. It's
Yeah.
been really good.
Thanks everyone. Cheers.
Yeah,
And
thank you
Victor
guys.
for,
Thank you.
Cheers,
for
bye.
joining us and talking for an hour. That was really good. Thank you.
Well done. Cheers, guys. Bye.
Cheers.
Good.